How I see the world, or how the world sees me, that is a question I don't often think about, but it has been on my mind for the past few weeks. I can't help but think, in order to understand how I see the world, I have to understand how people see their world. So I thought, how about I find people with similar life experiences to answer this central question? Perhaps then I can answer through reflection how I think of the world, my life, and everything. I guess we can start with when I came to Great Valley for the first time.
So probably the second day of school at Great Valley shaped the entirety of my Great Valley experience. Because I had been set up with like a person, as a new student in Great Valley, they had like a program where like they paired you with new students.
Oh, really?
Like experienced students with new students. I got paired with Will Herzog.
Oh, God.
And he toured me around and he said, yeah, so you're into computers and stuff, that's really cool, you should come by the TV studio sometime, like, I'll show you around. And he said, and it was cool. I thought I was never going to see this kid again. I was like, oh, cool, like, whatever, like, and then the second lunch, I walked in there, and then, like, I think, like, Brian Rafferty and, like, Tommy Sylvia and Maggie Kenny and all them, they, like, over there, and they were in one of my classes, so I thought about sitting with them, and then I saw Will, like, over the table, like, waving to me, and I was like, oh, who do I sit with, who do I sit with, who do I sit with? So I sat with Will. And that,
of course.
Sitting with Will changed the entirety of my high school experience, because from there I basically became a member of the TV studio. I became friends with Nick Mecca, and we all know where that went.
Yeah.
Jake McGlone, Austin Lanker. I just kind of built off of there, and that whole squad is what carried me through Great Valley. If I hadn't sat with Will that day, who knows where I would be, honestly.
I was never really, like, I stuck with, like, a crowd or, like, a gang or squad.
Right.
I was more of, like, a floater because I couldn't, I don't know about you, but I just can't, like, stand, like, doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And, like, my mentality was, like, there's a big world out there, and I shouldn't spend all this time, like, here.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to see how other people are, so I just kind of...
Yeah, at the time, I, like, envied these kids who were, like, starting to have parties in high school and hanging out in the back there. And, like, I kind of envied that. But at the same time, now looking back on it, I had much more rich experiences, like, going on adventures into the city and, like, hitting up thrift shops and going on rail trips to, like, look at different kinds of trains. And, like, it was weird. At the time, I thought it was weird. But looking back on it, I had much more rich experiences doing it than I would have if I just, sat around and started partying in high school. I'm much happier in college. I don't know, I appreciate freedom more. I think that high school is essential because it gives you structure and it teaches you essential things that you need to know. And I learned a lot from it that I still use today. That being said, it's not like the most... People always said like it's some of the greatest times of your life, and I highly disagree with that statement. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. I think back on middle school and high school, and like, it was about as bad as I thought it was. I sometimes it was like, man, I wonder if I'll look back on this and think it was so much better. No, it was very accurate. I was very aware of what it was like when I was there, I don't know, I'll see what happens when I'm more of an adult later on in life. But college has been dope.
What made you want to join the Guard?
Joined the Guard because, to be honest, I don't really know. I really have no idea why. But I figured it would be a fun thing to do. Maybe do something for the country. Bit of that, bit for paying for school, a bit.
Yeah, that's true. Same with me.
Yeah, I want to make something of myself other than my parents' income.
Yeah, it's like one of my points too. Like, I wanted to make my own income, not just rely on my parents all the time. Try to like take care of myself financially. So then like I went on the website and everything, right?
Okay.
It asked for like my age and like it was like my age and like height and weight and all that. And it was like, say, check if you're ready for the Guard or whatever, something like that. I put everything in there, and like next thing I know, when the page like loaded, it says, "Thank you, sending this to your nearest recruiter." I was like, well, there it goes. I went through MEPS and listed like October 3rd, something like that. Yeah, so
September 17th, and when I got there, infantry was not my first MOS choice.
What was it?
19 Delta. I was supposed to be a Cav Scout.
Oh yeah, and then you went in there and you found out like you couldn't see a certain color.
Yeah, red and green, color deficient.
And he was like, "Oh wow, that's infantry. You do cool shit, like high speed shit. You kick doors down and like shoot things." And I was like, "Oh okay, I'll do that one." And that's how I joined. I had no idea what I was entering.
No.
Yeah, there's just like so many jobs. I just like I didn't want to think about it, so I just picked that one. I think it's because like it was the quickest training. It's like I was concerned about like going to college and all that because you know, like the training's like 4 months or 14 weeks. So like I started in July because you know my recruiter understood that I was going to senior week June, so like, he's like, okay, I'll let you go. So when did you leave 30th AG to go to basic?
July 7th.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Oh, you must have met like a lot of friends and watched Black Hawk Down like 8 times.
Oh my god, yeah. Why?
I think like FTX was like my worst experience because like they made me team leader and I had no experience with leadership, and like I clearly wasn't paying attention. I was there. People were just waiting for me to like, you know, move my team to like a certain area. And then they're like, what the fuck are you doing, Tang? Why are you moving us here? We're supposed to be over there. And I'm like, oh yeah, move over there. And like, they'll just like give me shit. And I was just like, it was just so bad.
I was a 240 gunner.
You're a 240 gunner?
Yeah.
Damn. They actually did make me like carry a lot of stuff, surprisingly, even though I was a small guy. There are people in my like platoon saying like, I'm like a little kid. I'm like their little cousin or something like that.
Hey, I thought it'd be funny to give me a 240, so they gave me a 240.
Anything you gotta say to people who are thinking about joining or
thinking about joining? Oh shit. If you do decide to join, don't let yourself get tricked by recruiters into going to 11 Bravo. Don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Find something that you're good at that's not infantry stuff. There's a ton of other jobs that Army has that's gonna be A-okay.
See, you have a ambition for film. How did it all begin?
I think that at the end of the day, or I guess at the start of the day, I should say, I was always like a very kind of shy kid. I didn't really have a lot of aspirations in my life. Like because my mom is the type of person where she is super like agreeable and she's super like, you know, just a super good person who like means well, and she's just really smart and like very, very liberal, open-minded, super like empathetic person. But she's also someone who I think I get a lot of that from her, where she doesn't drive a lot of her own like life.
Right.
You know, it's kind of just things that just come along. She's more of like someone who goes with the flow of things and doesn't really like decide like, this is my goal, this is my passion, this is where I want to be. Like and then what happened was when I was in 5th grade, I started writing a novel. That was probably one of my proudest achievements, just because I was such a young kid and I had created this world. Like it was a fantasy novel, and I still to this day want to craft it into ideally like an animated series. Would be cool. Like my dad once told me like, I mean, he just got really pissed because like one time I was like in my room and just wasting time on my computer, and I wasn't like exercising at all. I just was gaining a little bit of weight, not much, like it was just normal amount of weight a teenager would gain. And he was just like you're just gonna grow up to be like a fat blob who doesn't do anything and just shit like that. So I was just super like fucking like distraught, I think, at a certain point. Again, I needed to like find something. So I started getting interested in films, like just because I had friends who were in the film club in school. I was in community college, and I took a film class at community college. It was like a film literature English class, but it was like the film as literature. So it was like showing films as more of like a form of like literature rather than just like
the story aspect. Yeah. You got any like final words or like anything about people going to film or your experience of film in general?
I think that I realized from fairly early point in my film career that my focus was to be writing. Like I've always considered myself a more introverted person. I like to write. I prefer pre-production. I'm interested in producing too, but I don't know if I have the leadership quality to be director. I mean, I definitely direct. I don't know if about like DP, that kind of stuff. Like anything on set, I feel like would be a little too much for me to handle. And I think like my role, I think that the key with film, I think is for me is like, and everyone else is finding a role that you're comfortable with, finding a niche that you think you can really get an ace in the hole every time.